Welcome. This is one of my favorite training classes that I offer because I personally have experienced low back pain in my life, like so many individuals. It's just one of the most common ailments that so many people deal with physically. And whenever I'm experiencing it, it really slows me down and it zaps my energy. So I want you to congratulate yourself already for taking the first step towards feeling better. You've made the choice to join this class, to follow this routine. And I think you'll find that this is a more extended practice today. This is 45 minutes, but I hope you find little bits and pieces within this session that you can adapt into your daily life. So whether it's 2 or 3 movements that we practice together today that you can put into a daily routine, or things that you can go back to again and again to just keep yourself feeling your best. So before we get started, let's just kind of take stock, do a little body scan. I want you to just stand nice and tall over your feet. Take a few big breaths in and out, and just kind of notice what you're feeling in your body right now. So if you're in pain at the moment, just send some love there with your breath. You know, if you're feeling pain anywhere, whether it's your back or elsewhere, just breathe some oxygen into that space and some loving kindness, send some loving kindness there. And I do want to say, just as a preface before we get really moving, that if there's any movements that I suggest today that make your pain worse or push you into pain, I want you to please back off. You are in charge of your own body, and you are listening to the pain signals it's sending you. So if pain gets worse with any of these movements, please know that you can take a break during the session, and then please do visit with your doctor if your symptoms are worsening, or if you're feeling like just regular exercises are not helping and they might be able to explore whatever's going on in your body a little bit further. But without further ado, I want to do a couple of movements just that we'll check back in with as an initial assessment. So first one, we're just going to be nice and easy on our low back, but I want you to just reach for your toes. Take a nice breath into your back body and maybe roll on up. And this time I'm going to show the side view. We want to just let our head relax. So I was kind of looking up that last time, but let's just let our head be heavy. See if you can breathe some space into that low back. And just notice what you're feeling there. So pay attention if you've got more tightness on one side or the other, or if there's any spots that feel really sticky, like you just kind of can't quite get that flexibility. This is just a way for us to try some movement out and then check back in with it later to see if we've made any improvements. The next one is our cat-cow. I'm sure you've done this before, but let's just curl the tailbone and let the top of your head drop, rounding your back. And then inhale, look up, press your tailbone away. So just go through a few of these. Again, just checking in. You know, when I've had some low back issues in my past, sometimes it's really hard for me to get into a full range of motion in this cat-cow. And so this is something that, you know, today I'm fortunate and not feeling pain today. So I can really feel like each vertebrae moving. But yeah, feel free to shake yourself out and get into a little bit of flexion and just kind of loosening up your body. And then we're going to meet up on our backs on the floor. So finding a comfortable position, just let your shoulders relax. Take notice if you're holding any tension in your jaw. We want to just allow our bodies to relax, to end up just releasing tension that might be related to our pain. So let's start practicing this little lumbar press movement. Inhaling, letting the ribs expand, and then exhaling, just pulling the tailbone up and away from the floor. Sorry for the interference here. Pressing your low back down. So inhale, let your ribs expand, peel your low back away from the floor, and exhale, press your low back down. You don't have to use your hands like I do. I just sort of do that for emphasis. But let's stay with this for a few more breaths. We've got the luxury of time today, so we're just going to do about 10 to 12 of these. And hopefully as you get further along into this exercise, you can start noticing your breath slowing down a little bit. and allow that to become sort of a stress reliever too. So a lot of time when we're feeling pain in our body, it might be related to some stress and tension that we're holding on to. Sometimes we keep our breath so high up in our chest, we're just not even aware of how much tightness and clenching that we've created in our bodies. So just let this not only be a time to address the physical aspects of our low back pain, but also maybe some of the emotional and mental things, and just allowing that breath to guide us into a state of a little more relaxation here. And then let's continue with our breathing, inhaling, letting our knees drop one way, and then exhaling through the center, inhaling, going the other way. Take your time with this movement, just knowing that you can pause and take an extra breath anywhere that feels really particularly good for you. Just think about letting your knees be heavy, but they don't need to touch the ground. So however much range you have available is all good. We're just lengthening out the side body, all this kind of connective tissue in the hip and the obliques. Let's go ahead and take a couple more. Double check the shoulders, double check the jaw. If you can even bring a smile to your face, that gives your brain a signal that you're safe and that everything's okay. And that's a great way to just help your body relax and let go of that stress response that we often get with pain. So yeah, bringing a smile to your face can be really good. Good here too. Okay, and then we are working with the foam roller today. So I'm gonna get my foam roller. This exercise I'm showing next can be done with or without it. So I'll show with, but you can do this without also. So go ahead and take a quick hip bridge and just slide the roller underneath your hips. So be careful that you're not in that low back curve area. We want that to be, we want the roller below the low back curve. And now we're just gonna straighten one leg out and hug the other knee in towards your chest. So again, check your shoulders, hug it in, and maybe start to slide your knee to the right and to the left. Just sort of loosening up that hip socket. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry for the dog barking in the background. My dog wants to be in here. All right, so now let's go ahead and bend and straighten the leg a little bit. Just finding a little bit more length in all of our muscles and tissues as we get going. And then know too that this movement is just as much about the straight leg, the down leg. So notice the stretch and lengthening you're getting on the front of your hip, in your hip flexor space. So if you're kind of holding tension there, see if you can let that leg just sort of drift down towards the floor and relax. And then let's hug both legs together, make some circles, massaging out your sacrum. And we'll go ahead and repeat that on the other side. So your other leg's gonna come out straight. So continue with that little knee hug. I will be right back. Someone's not gonna settle for laying down outside. So we'll see if she'll lay down inside. Working from home. Okay, Molly, go lie down. Down. No. Down. Okay, so where were we? So my left leg is straight, and I'm hugging that knee in towards my chest and just bringing my knee across my body. So hopefully you've gotten a couple nice movements here, and then we're gonna bend and straighten the leg. Think about pressing your heel up towards the ceiling. Yeah. Good, and just letting that straight leg just melt into the floor. So nice. Okay, so hopefully this is feeling okay with the roller under your hips, and sometimes mine will start to kind of move around. So make sure you're situated there. Again, this can be done without the roller, but now I'm crossing over into figure 4 position. I'm just gonna hug my knee in towards my chest and let it go. Speaking of hugging, oh, this was not the plan to have a dog here with me working out. They don't leave me alone though. Okay, so now I'm gonna hold that position and again, rock side to side. So I'm just kind of massaging my low spine and my kind of my SI joint area over that roller. Just rocking side to side. Nice. And then let's repeat that on the other side. So again, finding this stretch. I like to sort of reach through and grab the back of my thigh and just hug and release that leg a few times. And then maybe just kind of rock a little bit side to side across that roller. So listen to your body, let your body guide you as we work on these things, and just do what feels good. This is all meant to feel really good. And then bringing both knees together, I like to just draw these little circles in the air too. So massaging out the sacrum. Make sure you're still breathing and smiling. How can you not smile when I keep getting assaulted by this darling dog? She definitely brings a smile to my face, so I'm extra tolerant. Okay, so I'm going to pull the roller away. You can also do those little low back circles on the floor and just kind of see how that feels different. And then let's make our way onto our front. So this movement might not be for everyone, depending on what you're feeling in your body at the moment. Be kind to yourself, but let's just shake our hips out, and then planting our hands just right under the shoulders, let's just explore what it feels like to press into the floor. So it might be that this is enough for you, just kind of coming halfway. If you do yoga, you know this is called Cobra pose. And then if you're feeling up for it, you can press to straight arms all the way to an upward dog. And just find some length on the front side of the body. So depending on how you're feeling today, that may or may not be for you, but let's just come into our child's pose. And then we'll make our way onto our feet. But first, I want to check into how we felt with our cat-cow again, or how we feel with it compared to how we felt before. So maybe let's just do a couple and see, are we feeling maybe a little bit more freedom in our body than we did when we first got started? And if you are, then celebrate that. And if not, that's okay. Every day is going to be a little bit different, and we're going to continue with our practices. So making our way onto our feet, same thing. Let's just check in with our forward fold. Just notice if anything's changed. Roll on up. And again, no judgment. We're just looking for those little signs that, hey, maybe our body is finding a little reset. So while this is a low back pain relief class, we're going to work on our tissue throughout our body, okay? And we're not going to go directly to the point of pain. We're going to start working from the furthest areas away and then work our way inward to kind of isolate out some of the areas that really connect in with the low back. But believe it or not, we've got connective tissue that runs from the bottom of our feet all the way up to the top of our head. So let's start releasing some tension in the body with our feet. So I'm just going to put my roller here and put one foot on top of it and making sure my knee is stacked right over my ankle. I'm pushing down and just starting to roll the bottom of my foot. So this actually usually feels pretty good, a little foot massage. And then maybe find that center where your ankle's right over your, or right underneath your knee, and twist. Thank you for your tolerance with my pets. That's so funny. They just won't leave me alone. But I don't mind it. They're too sweet. Okay, and then the other foot. Let's go there. Rolling forward and back. Just kind of finding anything that feels tight. Maybe you need to kind of get into the arch of your foot a little bit more, or that outside edge of your foot. So again, let your body guide you. Once you start rolling, you'll probably start feeling like, oh yeah, I want to work more on this, or I'm feeling like really drawn to spend more time on that. So just listen to your body there. Okay, so we've rolled our feet. Now let's come down onto the floor, and we're going to work our way up the body. So starting just at the Achilles tendon, I'm going to go below the muscular part of my calf. And I'm going to angle toward you just a little bit. So I'm going to start to just rock that roller underneath my Achilles tendon. Just doing this light rolling. And if it's too much to stack your feet on top of each other, you don't have to do that. I just do that for a little bit added pressure. So you can probably get a lot out of this just staying here. And then let's pause, and we're going to move our foot in a big circle. So I like to say, imagine you've got a flashlight beam coming out of the bottom of your foot. Go ahead and reverse directions. And you're trying to shine the light in a huge circle all around the room. How big a circle can you make with that light? Nice. So let's repeat that on the other leg. So we haven't even gone to the calf muscle yet. We're still below the muscles. So just kind of rocking that roller in that space just above our heel, but below the muscle. And then shining that light, that imaginary light. So we're getting more from this than just kind of moving our toe in a circle. You're really moving from the ankle by imagining that beam of light coming out. So nice. Okay, and then now we'll address the calf. So again, you might find, depending on how tight you are, what activities you've been up to lately, if your calves are really tight, it might be enough to just have your leg here. But I like to stack mine, and you can even go a little bit more intense and push into your hands and roll with more the full weight of your body. So you pick the level that's appropriate for you right now, but I'm going to encourage you to kind of windshield wiper your toes and roll your leg across that roller. So start with your toes pointing towards one side wall, and then pass through the center, and then roll so that your toes are now pointing towards the opposite wall. So you're really getting like all around your calf muscle. And watch out, one of the things I see all the time, I'll show this on the other leg. So we'll switch to the other leg. I see a lot people get into this exercise and they immediately tense their foot up. They're like, ooh. And when you do that, your muscle it tenses up and it doesn't allow that massage in, right? So we want to allow the roller in there. So make sure your bottom foot is just kind of like a jellyfish right now. So windshield wipering the legs left, passing through center, and going the other way. Just kind of letting that roller do its thing. This can be, depending on the day for me, the calf can be really, really uncomfortable. So today is a lucky day. It's not any more uncomfortable than is normal. But sometimes my calves almost feel like bruised. So depending on the day, like this may or may not be more pleasant or unpleasant. Trust me, if you're new to rolling, stay with it, because the more you do it, the less uncomfortable it will be. But it does take a little bit of practice. So, and just knowing that it changes day to day. So, okay, we're going to transition. Stay on the mat, sorry. I'm just gonna open that for her because she's clearly needing to do something else. So let's bring the roller now to our upper back. So we started working on, the furthest away location from our back. Now we're gonna go up into our upper back and neck. So we're just going to the other end of the body. And let's just see if we can relax our head into our hands and just massage out all the space between our shoulder blades. Again, make sure you're able to take some nice, steady breaths. It's not uncommon while you're foam rolling to find some spots that sort of take your breath away, and that's totally normal. And so if you do find those spots, just pause there and just breathe until you can recover your normal pace of breathing. Okay, and then let's come on down. Rest your head right on the roller. So now the roller's kind of at the base of my skull, and I'm gonna just twist my head left and right, like I'm looking to see what's happening on either side of me, and I'm getting a lovely massage on my neck and my skull. And you can even add our hip twist that we practiced. So if you look one way and let your knees twist the other way, And then look the other way. Let your knees just the other way. It gives you a really nice way to just create more space in the body. Whenever we can relieve tension and create more space, it just allows energy to flow so much more freely. Okay, so let's start working our way in. We're gonna go into the glutes and hips a little bit. So I'm just gonna take a seat, kind of side seated on my roller, and start to roll up and down sort of the length of my hip. And again, let your body guide you. So I'm just gonna try to sort of shift a little bit more to the back side, really getting into my glute. And you may find that that's where you need it, or you might find that you need to be more on your side. So we'll just spend a few breaths here, just kind of exploring, seeing where our body needs this the most. And I actually really love the feeling of taking the bottom leg. So I'm working on my left glute right now, and I'm crossing my left ankle. So my right leg is my supporting leg. And now I'm getting really deep into that glute space. So I'm kind of combining that figure 4 stretch while I'm rolling. So take your time, make sure you're still breathing. So good. All right, and then just to transition to the other side, I usually sort of square off. So now I'm sitting nice and even on that roller and just kind of roll my sacrum area. The farther back you place your hands, the more you'll notice this is a nice chest and shoulder opener too. So if you're feeling tight from any upper body work, that might feel good, but you can just bring your hands to your sides too. Okay, and then I usually just swivel the other way, but I'm gonna reverse directions so that I don't turn my back to you. So let's now repeat everything we just did on our other side. So I'll start with both feet down, just kind of exploring. You know, getting in there, seeing if I can go all the way up to the crest of my hip bone. Down and up. So good. I hope this is feeling good for you too. And then crossing that bottom leg and just finding all those tight spots. This is great if you've done a bunch of squats lately. Ooh. Or deadlift, or just living your life, right? We all just need good body care. So I'm so glad you're here doing this great body care. So important. Okay, so we've kind of rolled the outer hip. Now we're gonna work our way into a space that I don't think anyone loves, but it's very important. Our IT band just runs this outside edge of our thigh. And so this area can become very problematic when it's tight. It can cause knee pain, hip pain, and contribute to low back pain. So the way to get there, we're gonna come onto our elbow. I'm gonna bring my top leg out in front to sort of be my support control leg. And then I've got the roller right on the outside edge of my bottom leg, and I'm just gonna kind of let that bottom leg float off the ground as I push into my elbow. And this is where you might find that breathless feeling I described earlier. So if you get to a spot where you're like, oh, that's it, you know, just pause there, relax as much as you can, breathe on it. Once you're kind of able to roll that full length of your IT band, you might swish your leg forward and back a little bit. Kind of just enhancing that, really loosening up all that tissue. So find your way, and then maybe even just kind of landing at the top of your hip where you can kind of tell there's like a bunch of attachments, a little bit in the area, and just kind of find where you can get the roller in there and just do a 2-inch roll. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. It's not always the best in the moment, but the foam rolling just makes you feel so much better later. It's so worth it. And like I said, the more often that you do it, the less you feel those feelings of like, oh, like this is so uncomfortable. So it is a bit of a process, but making it a part of your routine is so good. So let's get onto the other side. Again, my top foot is sort of my pushing foot. I'm floating my bottom leg off the ground and allowing that roller to smooth out that tissue in the IT band area. Oh yeah. I know I need it because it doesn't feel great. But yeah, so swishing that leg forward and back. Oh goodness. Forward and back. Yeah. Oh, okay. And then let's finally arrive at the very top of our hip. Just kind of getting that little 2-inch roll. Yeah. Yeah, so again, let your body guide you. It's going to tell you where to go with this. Nice. Okay, so let's just take a quick break. We'll just kind of, if you're comfortable sitting on your, hips, if you're sitting all the way down on the ground, feel free to just take a few hip circles here. That was pretty intense. So I'm going to have a sip of water. And now we're going to continue our journey of kind of getting closer into the trouble areas that connect directly to our low back. So we're going to start, I'm going to go to my other side again. So we're going to go right into our waistline. So like right where your bottom rib is, below that, and then above your hip bone. If your roller can kind of nestle in there. We're going to start here. Make sure your shoulder is right above your elbow and that your neck is nice and long. So we don't want to be all collapsed down. Let's be nice and long here. And then we're just going to start to rotate. So I'm reaching my elbow towards my opposite wrist and then looking up, opening my chest, reaching down and opening up. So now we're not actually really rolling or rocking on the roller. It's just there, placed in that waistline, and we're getting this massage by just kind of moving on top of it. So nice. I could spend a lot of time on that one. I love that one. So now I'm going to park my top leg again and go back to that figure 4 position. And now let's push into our planted foot. So our hips are slightly off the ground and we are just going to roll just a little bit. So this is one where, we don't have a lot of room between our bony structures, but we can sort of explore, can we open our chest to the ceiling a little bit more and get into the back area, those bands of muscles that run parallel to our spine. Maybe we can kind of smooth those out. And maybe also we can come forward and get into our oblique spaces a little bit. So with or without your knee up, just explore that. And you might even just like this feeling of rocking side to side. So again, just kind of taking care. We don't even think about our abs being involved in low back pain, but our obliques connect to our hip bones, and then that is tied into our low back. So everything's connected. And when we have tension there, which is so common, that can really cause a lot of trouble. So let's repeat that on the other side. I'm going to tuck that roller right into my waistline. Make sure I'm all stacked up and tall through my neck. And then look up, open the chest. And exhale. Reach your elbow down. Open up. And reach your elbow down. So nice. So I know I did quite a few of these on the other side, so I'll try to make it the same. And then again, coming into that crossed over position, I'm now floating my hips off the ground just enough to get a little rolling in, rolling towards the back, getting into those. I'm not ever rolling on my spine, but just getting to the side of it. Yeah. And then coming forward, getting into the obliques, and maybe rocking a little bit forward and back. So letting my knee come down and then coming back up. Yeah. Good. So nice. Okay. Whew. So I hope you're feeling good. We've got a little bit more to do with our roller here. So our hip flexor muscles, these guys that are responsible for our ability to bring our leg in front of us, when they're tight, they actually connect right into our lowest vertebrae. So we've got these muscles that run through our pelvis and connect here. So we got to release those. We did a little bit of work when the roller was under our hips and we were lying down, but let's go directly to it. I'm going to do one side at a time. So I'm putting the roller right in that crease of my leg, of my hip. So I'm going to work my left hip first, or roll my left hip first, and my right knee is out to the side just to help prop me up. And I'm just floating my leg off the ground. If your leg is gliding over the ground, that's fine too. Gliding your toenails. And I'm just rolling 2-3 inches of space there. Breathing in and breathing out. Fortunately for me today, this is not the first time I've rolled this area. I've had the benefit of doing this earlier. So I can tell you right now, this felt a lot more intense for me earlier, and I'm not feeling quite as tight. But earlier, this was sort of taking my breath away. So if you want a little bit more in this position, if you're like, hey, I feel really good, but I really want more, reach with your opposite hand, catch your foot on the side that you're rolling. And I'm sorry, my back is to you now, but we can rock and look over our shoulder and then rock and look down at the floor. So I'm just kind of rolling right over that front of my hip, massaging out that connective tissue. Yeah. And by doing that, grasping our foot, we're getting more stretch in our quad too. So on the other side, you'll see me from the front view. Sorry, that wasn't great planning, was it? So now I've moved the roller over to my other side, over to my other hip, and I'm just rolling out that space. So again, keeping that nice steady breathing, making sure our brain knows it's safe. We can release whatever tension is there. Yeah. And then I'm going to go ahead and find that bind and rock open and then face down. Just kind of holding the top of my foot in my hand. You know, and again, you might be thinking like, wow, I'm not a pretzel. And that's totally okay. Like I said, I'm already very warmed up. I've been doing sessions all day. It's like almost noon. So I'm very warmed up. And so maybe some of these movements are more accessible to you on some days than others, and that's totally okay. I'm just giving you some options or things that you can try if you are interested. Okay, now we're going to go to the fronts of the quads. So we worked on the hip flexors. Let's work our way down and just get the front of the quads rolled out. And for this one, I'm going to do both legs at the same time, but I often do work on my quads in conjunction with the hip flexor. Like I'll do the hip flexor on one leg and then I'll just go down and work on that same leg quad and do one at a time. So if you're using your roller in the future, that's always an option. But right now, push into your elbows, make sure your rib cage is nice and braced. And we're just gonna roll up and down. So we're getting a little light planking, aren't we? So finding all those sticky spots. I'm gonna pigeon toe my toes in towards each other for a couple rolls, couple passes. And then I'm gonna turn my toes away. And then I might even kind of just bend and straighten my legs. Just kind of getting into all those nooks and crannies. Now, this is a great one. It can be a great one for releasing low back pain. So setting up in a nice tall posture through the shoulders, bend your knees, and then let your heels drop one way and let your heels drop the other way. Make sure you're keeping your rib cage pulling up nice and tight. So we're not drooping down through the belly and low back. But this can be a nice reset for the SI joint, our sacroiliac joint. That's at the base of our spine and on top of our pelvis on the backside. Yeah, okay. Whew, let's take a little break. You can use your roller or not and just find a little child's pose here. Take a nice cleansing breath in and just release that all out. So we've made it to the end of our intensive rolling segment. So you can breathe a sigh of relief. All that deep tissue massage is over. So if you need a sip of water, grab it. And then I'm going to take you through 2 quick rounds of some exercises that can be really beneficial for strengthening your core and keeping low back pain away in the future. So again, if you're dealing with very acute pain today, maybe not all of these exercises will be for you, but I'm going to show a couple levels that will help make it really adaptable. So meet me on your back. Make sure your knees, hips, and toes are all in one line. So you're all lined up, shoulders are relaxed. Let's gently brace. I want you to exhale and kind of pull your rib cage down. Gently brace your low back into the floor. From here, I'm going to keep my right leg stationary and just let my left knee drop to the side and then use the strength of my abs to come back to my starting position. So inhale down, exhale, return. This is a great exercise for mobility in the hip. I want you to move nice and slow and controlled, and your abs will have to fire a lot. So even, you know, if you're very advanced in fitness and you do super tough core workouts, you'll notice your core working here as long as you're holding that braced position. And this is a great warm up to do before any more intensive core workouts. So file this one away. This is a great exercise to come back to. All right, so I just did about 8, I think. Let's go ahead and move to the other side. So now my left leg is stationary. Dropping that right knee out, bringing it back to center. Keep your breathing nice and steady. So nice. I like to just put my hands here on my low belly so I can just bring my brain awareness to what's happening there with those muscles. A couple more. Nice. So if that triggered any tension in your low back, feel free to give your knees a little hug and just massage that out. Next, let's work on the back side on our posterior strength. So oftentimes we lose strength in our glutes, and that also contributes to low back pain. And our glutes are actually part of our core. So drive through your heels, exhale, and bring your hips up in line with your knees and your shoulders. Just squeezing the glutes at the top, pushing through your heels. You'll feel your hamstrings working as well. So we'll do about 8 to 10 of these. Really everything we're going to be doing from here on out for the last few minutes of our session, these are all movements that would make a great primer to get you ready for a workout in the future. So if you're ever wondering, like, what should I be doing before I lift weights or before I, even get on your Peloton or go for a walk outside or whatever, these are great movements that can prepare your body for all kinds of workouts. Okay, so now let's knit the ribs together. Again, brace your low back into the floor and we'll start marching from the ground up. So again, by moving in this slow, controlled fashion, you're allowing all these stabilizing muscles in your hips and your low abs to fire. So we're taking away all momentum. Notice my ribs aren't moving. The space between my low back and the mat hasn't changed. I can maybe barely slide my pinky finger under there, right? And it's just staying nice and steady. So we'll do about, 6 or 8 on each side. And just notice how you're feeling. Again, if some of this doesn't agree with you, that's totally okay. Just take a break when you need it and go into one of our stretches. Okay. Coming onto our side, plant your elbow. We're going to shore up these obliques a little bit. So I'm going to show the first option with my bottom knee down. These first few exercises are all the low impact, and then we're going to go into the next level. So let's drive our knee and our elbow into the floor, squeeze our glute, inhale down, exhale, press up and squeeze. Let's do 6 on each side. If you do your own workouts at home and you want to blend these movements in, you can explore, different rep ranges, maybe working up to 10 or 12 of these. But I know we've got places to be and we only have a few more minutes together, so I'm just going to do 6 for today. Whew. Okay, other side. So making sure that you're all aligned here. Exhale, bridge up. Inhale down. So nice. Yeah, we know we need a strong core to keep low back pain away, but our core is so much more than just the abdominals, the six-pack muscles. We have so many muscles that are all included in the core, and we really want to get all the deeper core muscles to engage and support our musculature. So, and our bones and everything. So getting all these different assortment of exercises that move us into different planes of motion is really important. So our last one, you've probably seen this one many times before. It's a bird dog movement. So we're going to extend one leg out long, opposite arm is going to reach, and then we'll just switch. So the key here is to stabilize the torso by pulling your rib cage up nice and tight. Just keep a nice neutral spine. You can focus a little more on glute strength by squeezing your glute on that leg as it extends back. And I like to say, imagine that you've got a laser light coming out of your belly button and it's making a little dot of light on the mat, and you don't want that dot to move at all. So you want to keep that belly button just pointing straight down. And this will be our last one. I lost count there. Okay, so that's round 1. We're going to layer onto that for the next few minutes. I'm going to show you a few of those in just like the next level. So you can use your roller or not. I'm going to show this with the roller this time. So remember we started with our knee fall out. I'm going to elevate my hips, which takes a little pressure off my low back, float my heels off the ground, keep the rib cage down nice and tight. And now I'm going to let my one knee drop out to the side. Trying my best to keep my other leg from moving at all. So this is a really challenging one. Make sure your ribs aren't popping up. And then let's do the other side. Exhale to center. Inhale down. Yeah, good. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw or anything like that. While we're in these sort of pain relief workouts, we really want to make sure that we're not collecting a bunch of tension in the body. We just want to get stronger, but also keep the balance in all of our tissues. Okay, give your knees a hug. I'll show you again, this is maybe not even level 2. Well, so you can do your bridging here with the roller under your feet. I'll show you 2 different options. Roller under your feet, bridging up and down. Make sure you're feeling it in the backs of the legs and glutes and not your knees. Or you can go into a single leg marching bridge. So whichever you choose, let's just do a few reps on each side now. Last one. And I'm going to tuck my roller back under my hips really fast. We'll go back to the marching, but this time we're starting from the top down. So ribs are on, nice and tight. Let's bring one heel down, alternating sides. And I know we're running short on time, so I'm just going to do a handful on each side. 3, 2, and 1. Okay, coming back to our side plank, full side plank. This time the knee is off the ground. So I have my feet stacked on top of each other. You can do it that way, or you can put one foot in front of the other, top foot in front. For me, it's more comfortable to be stacked, but choose which one is better for you. So good. Let's do the other side. Stay with it, you guys. So you can always go back to having your bottom knee down. That's totally fine. Woo. Just enjoy if you're feeling that heat in the body from starting to get this workout going, feeling your muscles working. Celebrate that. Be like, yes, my body's like working for me. It's always a miracle, and we take it for granted. So now coming back to our bird dog, here's our level 2 bird dog. Repeating on the same side, really pulling your knee and your elbow together. So you'll notice in this one, I'm allowing a little bit more rounding of my back, kind of hugging and hollowing out my belly. Let's do the other side. Rounding and reaching. Keep that breath flowing, exhaling all the air out, inhaling in. Be careful that you're being gentle on your neck, not jerking your head around. All right, let's finish up here with a nice child's pose. And then maybe coming back to our cat-cow. Again, just taking stock of how we feel. And then as we come up nice and tall, one more final forward fold. Just finding some release in the back of the legs and the low back. Just let your arms be heavy and roll on up. And celebrating any shifts that you've felt in your body. Maybe you feel some improvement to how you feel now compared to how you started. Maybe you've learned some new exercises that will serve you in the future. And no matter what, I just hope that you feel so good about spending this time on self-care. So thanks so much for joining me. I hope you feel amazing.